me? Can you hear me? All right, let's make it fun. This is the last one for today. So, hi everyone, my name is Michael. Nice to meet you. I promise the next, whatever is going to happen here, will be entertaining. So, the play economy. Have you ever heard about something like this? If yes, raise your hand. That's amazing. Okay, so what is the play economy? The play economy is an evolution from the experience economy, and in the next talk/interactive workshop I was asked to do here, we're going to explore it. And just before, I would like to point this interesting, does anyone knows what it is? Just by any chance? Yes, 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 please. What is it? Yeah, it's a CryptoPunk. Okay, CryptoPunk. Anyone heard about the CryptoPunks? Maybe? Okay, NFT collection. NFT, really weird. What is this NFT? Okay, so during the pandemic, there was this, maybe we can say, a phenomenon of people coming together, becoming tribes, and purchasing those JPEG 2D images, putting them as their profile pictures. One of them, as we see here, is CryptoNovo, a CryptoPunk. This is the 3D manifestation of this 2D avatar, right? And this is the collector himself, CryptoNovo. And the reason why I put it in the beginning of my slides is because I think this is fascinating. When the pandemic started to go away, there was the first NFT summit. And this collector of this NFT came dressed up as his avatar. And I thought, oh, this is interesting. And maybe roleplay will save the world. Now, since this is an interactive workshop, what I'm going to ask you right now is to look in the eyes of a person next to you. Just for a second. Just look in the eyes of a person sitting next to you. Yeah? Say, oh, hello, stranger. And if you don't have, so maybe find someone. You have to find someone, yeah. Find an eye of a... Beautiful. And I want you to tell this person, when was the last time you played? It could be with your child, with your nephew. It could be some type of online game. It could be some type of anything. Anything that goes, sport. But please introduce yourself shortly to this stranger and tell them, when was the last time you played? Please, go ahead. Okay, beautiful. So raise your hand if you didn't remember at all. Raise your hand if you had a little story to share. Beautiful. Alvaro, what did you share?
I said I played with the dog of my friend last night.
What did you share?
I played with my son the Lego Duplo game.
Okay, beautiful. So can someone tell me what is the opposite of play? Interesting. So actually, an interesting philosopher of play said that the opposite of play is not work, but it is depression. And a very famous playwright called Bernard Shaw say, we don't stop playing because, we don't stop playing because we get old because we stop playing. Okay? So just take this as a comment. It's kind of a confusing sentence, try to say it. So, as I said, my name is Michael Ronen. I have this very interesting history. I grew up in a theater family in Israel. All my family did theater. And I grew up to become an immersive theater director. I did interactive theater shows. And then I moved to Berlin, and in 2012, I was here at the first TOA, Tech Open Air in Katte-Holzig. I did a workshop on something called Actorpreneur. How can you bring the theater arts to entrepreneurship? And I got interested in tech. I got interested in technology because I thought that it would be really interesting if we can take theater and we put it in the internet. If we take the scarcity of this, of what's happening here, this situation which will not exist in 20 minutes, if we can bring this scarcity into media. And I created this first startup. I called it Virtual Time Capsules, where you can experience media that is bound to a location. So a group of 20 people go to the forest, and only then a music playlist of a party starts, for example, right? So scarcity to media. Later on, I got interested in virtual reality. 2015, I played with virtual reality, and I created an app to capture your point of view, a 360 video that you can capture just with your phone. And later on, I got interested in the concept of playing inside a video. What does it mean if I enter someone else's video and I start playing with it? It was really fun, you know, slapping Trump and doing different type of confetti and throwing different type of effects on top of other people's videos. I was really interested to bring this concept of play into the world of media. And then 2020, when the pandemic started, I got really interested in the concept of social play. Anyone heard about an app called Clubhouse by any chance? Yeah, it was a social audio app. You basically have no video, just profile pictures, and you can see when someone is talking. That's it. I thought that would be a really interesting space to experiment with social play. Since pandemic times were really weird, you remember how weird it was during the pandemic, sitting home alone, all your circles of friends are fading out. And I was just thinking about what happens if a group of strangers enter a mobile app and change their profile picture to their grandmother and start speaking as their grandmother, and start speaking as their ex-girlfriend, and start speaking as a broken object in their house. And just to give you an illustration, since this is an interactive workshop, I want you to close your eyes, or don't, and just imagine a broken object in your house. It could be anything, from a clothes or a piece of furniture, maybe an earphone, maybe a charger, something that is broken in your house. And then I want you to go back to your partner that you just spoke before and present yourself as the broken object. Hi, my name is a broken iPhone charger, right? Where are you from? I'm made in China. Okay, beautiful. When were you broken? When did you broke? Actually, Michael, that's me, he broke me 2 years ago. I don't know why, he still keeps me around, right? So, okay. Think about a broken object, and if you don't have anything that broke, so think about a lost object, okay? Look again in the eyes of your partner, and just have a short interview about a broken object in your space. Look around you. Is there a person in the room who doesn't have a smile on their face? Okay, let's stop. So please introduce yourself.
I'm the, how do you say it, the lid of a trunk.
The lid of a trunk. And where were you manufactured?
So sometimes my button doesn't work, so I don't open.
And where were you made? Where were you born? Where were you manufactured?
That's hard with car parts, right? So the car is from Sweden, but the part is probably from China?
China, yeah. Anyone else from China? Okay, beautiful. Okay, thank you very much. Let's come back here. As I said, the opposite of play is depression, so hopefully at least in the end of this session, you'll feel a little bit more light. Now, we are here to talk about the play economy, and I want to share with you my interesting journey. So I was playing a lot of very weird experiences during the pandemic. And I want you all to reflect for a moment on this beautiful time that we had during the pandemic when it felt like the world is ending. You remember this time? It felt like the world is ending. And for a moment there, we felt like all the circles of our close friends are fading away. We are quarantined at home. And we started to do some, excuse my language, weird shit. We started to do things like that. And the moment that we crossed our comfort zone, I see you're laughing. Do you remember something very weird that you did during the pandemic? Yes? Can you share with us? Yes, please. Just quickly.
We covered all mirrors in our apartment, and then we had a face painting night, and you couldn't see yourself unless we, unveiled it, and it was horrible.
Beautiful, a mirror night in the apartment. Any other weird stories from the pandemic? Beautiful. So I'm sure you all have it, but you want to keep it in the past, right? Because it seems like since we went back to normal life, now there is, this is gone. This is part of the past. But I think here we are wrong. I actually think that we are moving towards an era where play will be rediscovered. So after doing this, pandemic ended, and I started exploring those games in real life, giving people earphones in different interactions, allowing them to interact with each other. And we continue doing this experimentation. We created the virtual Burning Man. That was an interesting experience as well. How can you bring, if anyone knows the Burning Man, they have very clear values, and how can you bring those values to the digital sphere? And if you're interested, I wrote a lot about the subject of digital intimacy, and how can you use this neosphere to create very intimate relations. So I got really interested in the opportunity of using this web-free NFT space, not to make money, but to try and bring people together. And I realized this is an opportunity behind the art of CryptoPunks and all those weird Bored Ape Yacht Club and all those kind of figures. I realized that there's a new culture. So pandemic happened, and actually in Clubhouse, suddenly we saw people changing their profile picture to an alter ego, an avatar. And if you think about an NFT collection, you have 10,000 characters. They all belong to one tribe, to one family. But each one is unique. They call it rarity. They have their unique elements. And this is part of a movement called generative art, procedural art. So each one of us belong to a nation state, but all the flags are the same. Here, the flags of this new nation state, those new tribes, each one is unique. They still belong to the same family, but each one is unique. And as I showed you before with CryptoPunk, we are moving from an era of 2D profile pictures to 3D characters, right? I mean, maybe in our age range, we are not playing so much with 3D characters, but the generations, the younger generations are now playing Fortnite and Roblox. They see those avatars as a representation of their feeling. When they go into a social space in the 3D metaverse, they are metaverse natives. We don't need to explain to them the concept of metaverse. Metaverse originally wasn't invented, by the way, by Mark Zuckerberg, just as we are clear. Neil Stephenson, a sci-fi writer, wrote a book called Snow Crash. Snow Crash, the concept of metaverse, beyond the universe, where I foresee it as a playground for adults. Just before today, someone talked about how social media is polarizing us. So the opportunity that lies in a 3D metaverse enables us to have shared visions. I grew up in Israel. I grew up in a state that is in a constant conflict. And when I moved to Berlin, I met many Palestinians and many people from the Middle East. And it was suddenly unclear to me why we never had this opportunity to have a common ground to create shared narratives and shared visions. Nobody talks about shared visions. The metaverse enables us to create this opportunity. So we can foresee how a win-win situation would look like if we create it and play it in the metaverse. So the experience economy developing into play economy. We started with a product economy, right? We buy a product. But then they said, you know, there's something about an experience that is very unique. So either we bring the experience around the core product, or we actually just sell experiences, right? What does the play economy means? In the play economy, we become the protagonist. We are the co-creators of the brand. Think about, again, this CryptoPunk. He took this avatar and he develops his own story. He told me, CryptoNovo, he told me, I want to be like Walt Disney and like Mickey Mouse in the same time. There is an opportunity for us to take the brand IP in this play economy and develop it to spaces where the owners and the founders and the creators of the brand have not imagined. This is from an NFT conference. I'm meeting another NFT collector. And again, I know there's a lot of bad reputation for the NFT and crypto, and should be, because there were a lot of bad players there. But I also saw some genius in this space. And I want us to focus on this opportunity. Because usually we go to Comic-Con and we have cosplay and people interact. But suddenly there's an opportunity to bring those characters to other spaces. Now, this book, Homo Ludens, was written by a Dutch philosopher 80 years ago. And he says that play is undervalued. That the Industrial Revolution killed play, at least as it existed before. Because they needed us to go to school to prepare to the factory for the assembly lines, and later now, those days, to the office. So the play economy might disrupt that. He also says that the reason that we play as kids, if you have kids or if you've seen kids play, they simulate the situations of their parents. They simulate the environment. So play is a framework to put some sense in the chaos that we live in. So it's a way for us to understand the world, to simulate the world, and to put meaning in it. I would like to ask you, again, to talk shortly with your partner and try to remember the last time you were not yourself. Could be in a cosplay party, maybe you were in some Halloween, you took the dress code a bit too seriously and maybe not seriously at all. It might be in a dream. This is a tough question, but I want you to try and bring it to your partner. So look in your partner, when was the last time you were not yourself? And try to help each other with this question. When was the last time you were not yourself? Okay. So, all right. I would like to ask you, when was the last time you were not yourself?
I'm lost in existential dilemma about this. And I think it was probably when I was playing on a boat just recently, when I felt much freer than in my life here.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, beautiful. So hopefully this conversation sparks some interesting places in your mind. And now let's talk a little bit about the play economy and where it could actually meet us in our work life. This is a party in the UK at 6 a.m. in the morning. This is a company called Morning Gloryville. Morning Gloryville do techno parties in offices space. And again, they found out that, starting the day like this bring a lot of joy in the workplace. This is from LARP, live action role play, in Poland at the Castle of Wizardsy. This is some kind of a spin-off of Harry Potter. People dress up, come there for a few days. It's like a holiday in a castle where you can dress up and you have teachers and so on. And a lot of team buildings are happening like this. Talking about team building, just outside we have here this container of the escape rooms, which is a known form of team building in the workplace. And this is Rec Room. Rec Room obviously is a VR play where a lot of kids are playing in a virtual environment, tag and different type of games, but this could also exist on what's called a mixed reality sense. So there's a huge opportunity to take play into the workspace. And when we think about the elements that we spoke about before, the combination of Web3, tokenization, assets that are owned by the users, meaning, by the way, a synonym for user, if you ever want to use it in your tech company, and you can check the dictionary, is an enjoyer, right? So users, which is usually a drug user, are being used, could also be enjoyers. So maybe if you changed your user base to your enjoyer base, you change the mindset regarding your customers. So basically there are options to give your employees rewards and engage them with avatars, with game assets. Those game assets for remote work could be really interesting because it makes the whole work environment very playful. A lot of people are talking about how VR will change remote working, and then we put the headset and we're like, I don't want to be in this. This is weird. Like this, I want to work now. But again, if we look at work as play, and if we look on a VR headset like a theater mask, we might be able to perform and interact with other employees like we are in a playground or on a stage, more than just entering an office. So thinking about the possibility of remote work with XR, VR, and Web3 elements. And the same thing also applies for brands, right? If anyone has here a brand, the future of brand in the play economy is to take those elements and to let your customers become the main protagonist in your story. So several ideas, for example, with generative 3D avatar, you can take the mascot or the logo of the company and you can give it to your customers, each one unique. You can have immersive XR location-based entertainment games, so all the type of activations we see in Comic-Con, we can now allow those to happen in real locations. So in your shop, Nike shop, you will have gameplay where the customers come in and there's different rewards that they can find in the shop, first using their phone, maybe in few years using their Apple glasses or so on. Words that are co-created by the fans, so again, like when you allow to extend your IP, LARPing that are basically live action role play games that are built around the brand ethos, and extended reality activation. So if you ever heard about the idea of alternate reality game, where you walk the streets and there's clues and it's like a treasure hunt, but there's elements that layer another type of game on your work. And the thing is dead. Okay. Are we okay there? Right? Interesting. Okay. Yeah, this is bug 2000. What? It's yeah, it's just okay. All right. Yeah. Oh, here it is. So I have an example here of a movie called The Congress. It was made by a director called Ari Folman. He did the movie Waltz with Bashir. And the idea of The Congress is the actress Robin Wright, Princess Maid. She comes to the studios, she's being scanned, and then they tell her, you will never need to act again. From now on, we scanned your character, and your character will play for you. Quite dystopic, right? And then the movie jumps into the future, where the consumers of entertainment are taking hallucinogenic pills that make them feel and make them see other people as avatars. Now, this sounds so sci-fi, but you know what? I was once in a conversation with the founder of Netflix, and he was asked, who are your competitors? And he said, the pharmaceutical companies. And he said, what do you mean? He said, it's not the other streamers. If somebody will ever change the shape of entertainment, it could come from there, right? So sensing like you are another character, becoming an avatar. And I know it sounds really far off and strange, but with the accelerated growth of how we see right now AI, things like this would be there in the next 20 years. And the reason why I bring it up, because I think we need to be thinking in a really ethical way about the progress of play in those environments. Because the type of play we've been nurturing was destructive play. Most big game titles that exist are shooting games. When I say play, people think about, shooting games, they think about environments, right? They think about destructive environments, or they think about child play, right? Or they think about foreplay, which is taboo. So a lot of, when the concept of play will evolve, we will mature with it. And one essential element about play is creating a safe container. Any live action role play festival, any live action role play activity start with a workshop about consent. And we don't practice consent. We definitely don't practice consent on social media. And consent is when somebody tells no, you tell him, thank you for taking care of yourself. Honestly, right? This is respecting people's boundaries. And this is very important when we enter the realm of play, because in play we want to be supportive. We want to allow people become vulnerable. Okay, my presentation is dead, but it's not so bad. We are just about to finish here. It's kind of like playing around. Okay, so if you have a brand or a business, my last question to you is, how would you bring your customers, your enjoyers, into your world of play? How would you make them co-creators in your business? And what freedom of creativity would you allow them? With your brand IP, with your brand assets. And with this, my friends, I will finish my interactive workshop presentation. I thank you for your time. And I will leave a moment if there's any question, Alvaro, or anything that you would like to bring up.
Anyone has questions? So we can take a few, because we still have 10 minutes left. But
I think the next 10 minutes will be great to go out, have a drink, relax, chill, and have a playful conversation.
all right.
Thank
With
you
that-
so much.
Yeah, with that we close. Thank you, Michael, so much.